Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Powerful on Purpose podcast, where we're always bringing you amazing women who are using their stories to build businesses, to impact the world in powerful ways, and always service. Their hearts are full of service. And today is no exception. I have Becky Plautz. So Becky is a creator and host of the Choose on Purpose podcast and the visionary behind the Muse Experience. I think you're going to love this. It's a visibility and embodiment experience for women leaders who are ready to be seen, heard, and reflected for who they are becoming. And Becky's work really centers on the belief that visibility is not a marketing tactic, it's a relationship with yourself. So excited for this conversation, Becky. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to dive in with you as well, Leslie.
I always love to start because I think it's really interesting and leads to so many things. Why you're doing what you're doing. What was the story that has kind of led you to the Muse Experience? It's not something that I have heard of, this combination. I think it's brilliant, by the way, but that's juicy.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So I would love to just start by saying most women I work with don't actually struggle with confidence, which is a big thing that I hear all the time. My whole life, it was, Becky, you're so bold, you're so confident. How do I get that? And that isn't the start point. Really, it's they struggle with trusting themselves. And I've spent the last 15 years as a photographer working with women. And what I kept seeing was that these women who could show up strong on the outside, but they were second guessing themselves underneath it all. And now I've became a certified success coach. Again, I'm a podcast host. I worked through my own personal fears about public speaking and getting out there and really speaking life to other women to show very vulnerably, like it can be uncomfortable, whatever we choose to do, but following that passion is really important. So I help women really build what I call confidence in action. We're doing the things in order to reveal consistency and confidence through the process, where instead of waiting to feel ready for something, they start making aligned decisions and prove to themselves that they can trust who they are becoming, which is why I was so excited to learn that Powerful on Purpose and Choose on Purpose were coming together, Leslie.
Yeah, double the purpose, double the power.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So the combination of that Muse experience is that confidence coaching, if you will, really working on the mindset and just kind of drawing out what's inside of the women that I work with about who they believe that they are so that they can be honest with that, because a lot of the times it's a lot less than they really are until you give them the space to really sit with it and be true to themselves in a safe space. And then the next part of that is planning a dream photo shoot for them. And I specialize in empowerment boudoir photography, but the Muse Experience is, it can be anything from a business focus of like powerful stances and, more of a headshot type thing, or a blend of the two, but it is personalized. And then the other side of that is the interviewing and the drawing out about their growth journey and giving them a voice, not just photos, but getting to the point of doing that work with the coaching and then seeing themselves through the photography side of it. And then the podcast and the interview is the continuation to really let them hear how much power they do have within them, that they're then turning around and really stepping very intentionally into the next phase of their life to own that and become her more. So that's the Muse Experience, is those three facets together to just give women an experience of transformation that I'm just so passionate about those pieces coming together to really show women the power that they do have within them as well.
Right. And I love that, because we're getting a product out of the transformation. And I think that's why I love books so much, because it has that transformation arc as well. So do you feel like it's vulnerable to do boudoir? And maybe explain that, because maybe not everybody knows that, but that requires a different level of vulnerability and that aspect of self-trust.
Yes. Yeah. For anyone that doesn't know or have never heard of it. So I call it empowerment boudoir, because my aspect is always about helping the the subject, the woman, see herself in a way that she doesn't always do, right? Like, so if you think about like glamour shots, maybe years ago, right? It was like getting glammed up kind of thing, and really just seeing yourself in a different light, in a different way to really feel good about who you are. So the boudoir side of things is it can be anywhere from dressing up in a dress to lingerie or even illusion of nude photos. And to me, that is, it's tasteful, it's covered up, but it's an illusion of just that vulnerability and helping these women feel good in their skin now, not 20 pounds from now, not when it's for someone specifically, but the self-love aspect and knowing that today is actually the youngest you will ever be.
Exactly. That vulnerability in that moment of this is who I am in this skin, whatever that translates to. I love this aspect of trusting ourselves. Can you speak a little bit to that about how that's empowering for women or why we need to seek out that self-trust?
Yeah, I think the big thing that I want to say to this is the message for me is that you don't need more confidence to lead boldly in your life, whatever that is. And I love pointing out that I believe every single person is a leader. And it's not about a role or a position that we play, it's about that ownership, that trust in the steps that we're taking in our own life. I believe that we're each leaders. So when I say lead boldly, that just means you as a human leading your life and having ownership to make those choices and autonomy for yourself. So my message is you don't need more confidence to lead boldly in your life. You need to start moving and building confidence through taking a step. So if this conversation is intriguing to you, like taking a step to just like lean in, I think it's important to remind people like just because it's a little uncomfortable doesn't mean it's a stop sign. It could be a signal to explore something more. I have talked to women that it's so out of the box for them that they might have totally shut it off. And that's some people's journey. But when people lean in and are just asking questions and really understand at least my work, it changes a lot of their perspective about what they thought in passing it was because maybe they saw someone else's photos, and really being open to exploring that because that's where you will build your confidence is through taking that step and that action.
If I could tag on where you also build your self-trust, right? Because I made this decision to follow the rabbit trail, so to speak, and it led to something amazing. So the next time I have that opportunity, now we're building that muscle of take that opportunity because good things could happen.
Yeah, I love that you call it that muscle because I believe that's a big thing too. That people think that either you have confidence or you don't. And because I was told that so much in my younger years that I had no idea what they meant, but really it is a muscle. It's a practice. You know, we can easily get knocked out of having that quote unquote confidence and that assurance in taking those steps and need to reacclimate ourselves with that. We need to rebuild that and reconnect with the fact that we can do things that are unfamiliar and uncomfortable. And that's where the confidence gets kind of strengthened and built up. And with that comes trusting that you can take the next step, whatever that might be.
I always think of Beyonce, who for years had to embody someone else to perform. Okay, if she can do it, like the rest of us can come up with that persona and do the same thing. And that's kind of what you're helping women see, right? Is look at what you look like from the outside. You look powerful and amazing. And that's the inside you're asking them to step into.
Yeah, I love that you say that. That was another thought I had earlier when we were talking about photography specifically as well, is that my work and the evolution in that. And, you know, I was doing the photos for so many years and now doing the coaching aspect and really diving into that identity work. But that's the difference in what I'm doing is that it's not just the surface level. Really, it's evolved so much that a lot of my clients actually come and want more of a natural looking photo shoot. They really want that raw feeling of natural beauty that, you know, in the day-to-day life, they feel like they're challenged with being accepted for that. I think that the more we remind ourselves and other women, like we have the power to make these choices. And if it doesn't serve us, then we can also decide to stop doing those things that are out of alignment with us or feel inauthentic.
Absolutely. I love that
Leslie.
aspect.
That's our power.
Making the choice how we do show up, who we choose to be when we do, all those things I think are some of the choices that we're making all the time, and bringing it in front of women saying, is that what you're consciously choosing? Is that your intention? And I think when they write books or do photos and coaching, right, is that chance to reflect and mirror back that power and that purpose. So yeah, I love this, how you've combined these things. So what was the moment when you said, wait a minute, this could go together in a super powerful way?
Yeah, I was realizing I was helping women look confident with specific poses for their body type and, that. And I realized that I wanted them to actually feel it. I wanted them to carry it, in their lives. And I had always known that on a deep level, but like the how wasn't there yet for years. It was just go through the motions of like figuring out how to even run a boudoir studio and what does it look like to be a professional photographer. And then understanding as I went in deeper and deeper for myself and like learning about Becky and who I am and why this work is so meaningful, that it was like, I want them to feel it. I just don't want them to look at in a photo. I want them to leave being like, holy crap, that's what it looks like. And I feel that I'm walking it out in my life. That's transformation. It's not just photos. So it wasn't one set time. It was just that cultivation of paying attention to there's more here in this work than just quote unquote being a photographer. I knew I was never just a photographer. I always had a full experience for my clients. But as someone that naturally wants a deeper connection with people in general, I knew that I wanted to help them from the inside out versus kind of the outside look, which is how I feel like it started out in the very beginning. It was just this uncovering for myself as I built my own confidence to know that the coaching could be so much deeper than just the day that I spent with them.
Right? Do you, out of curiosity, are there pictures like at the beginning and then you do work with them and a picture at the end and you see the physical transformation? Because I'm guessing there's something about that energy people are giving that is going to show up in the photos.
Yeah, I've heard of some really cool experiences with photographers that have done that. So that is a true story that you can physically see the difference in people. I do photos in their coaching session, just like a snap on the screen in the Zoom call, because the coaching is virtual leading up to the photo shoot day. But it's true. You can definitely see that. So I always actually would encourage people to take a picture before you go on any kind of understanding that you are choosing and deciding to make a transformation in your life. I would encourage you to take a selfie, take a full body picture, take a whatever kind of photo and just save it for yourself. You don't have to share it with anyone, but it's like stamping the time that you're making a decision, and how much power that can hold would be amazing. I'm actually going to put that in my notes to tell my clients now, take your own picture, and then maybe after they work with me, take another one of their own pictures and kind of see and feel that energy too, because it's true. It's absolutely true.
I love that frame you put on it, timestamp the decision, and then we timestamp the transformation.
Yeah, and I think there's a really great learning opportunity in that specifically, because it does take time. The patience that it takes to actually let our transformations kind of unfold sometimes can be excruciating. So those photos, to like timestamp that as a photographer, maybe it really does help to have that visual reminder that something was decided on, that especially on those challenging days when we don't want to do it, but we're committed to it. And again, that's where we tap into our own personal power to know that making those changes can be challenging and hard, and that we're made for that. It's a signal to keep going in those directions sometimes, that we just get to pay attention to and trust ourselves on that journey.
Is there a piece of advice you would give to someone who's maybe sitting in that space of, I'm not sure I trust myself, or when they're sitting in that spot, doubting themselves?
Yes, there's one, I will say, confidence isn't something we're waiting for. It's something that you get to prove to yourself through taking action steps. And there's a confidence in action loop that I'll share, which is, 3 really simple steps. And simple may not be easy, so just keep that in mind. The first part of that confidence in action loop is to decide. So stop waiting for clarity. We create that clarity by taking a step to be able to see more clearly. So choose your next step. And it doesn't have to be the quote unquote right step. You can make it the right step by choosing to see and learn along the way. So decide that you're going to take a step in the name of looking for that confidence that maybe you feel that you're lacking, and decide that you're going to take a step. So take a step with that choice. And then the second part is to do. So decide and then do. Take the step before you actually feel ready. It's okay to do that. Make it messy. It's all right. And then the third part would be to prove. So decide, do, prove. Let your actions become that evidence that you can trust yourself, that you can do it messy. You can do it imperfect. We're all human. Everybody's doing it imperfectly. So taking that step is really where you're building that evidence. And just remember that you're collecting the feedback along the way, that you can trust yourself along that path.
Yeah, I love that. That's powerful. And just imperfect action, perfect implementation, actually imperfect results. We keep doing it. We keep, reiterating and going on. That's beautiful. And I know you have a free gift for everyone. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that? The Confidence Catalyst Weekly Boost.
Yeah. So the Confidence Catalyst Weekly Boost is a short weekly message designed to help women keep promises to themselves and to stay connected to who they're becoming, and to take those small aligned action steps that build confidence and self-trust. It's a email that comes directly to your inbox from me that has the newest Choose on Purpose podcast episode. And it also has the newest Healthy Headspace blog post. Sometimes I do little challenges and just little notes at the end of that, invitations to any free things that I'm doing. So it's a great little packaged up email of anything that can empower you and inspire you to trust yourself more and give you a little push to challenge yourself. And that's a free weekly email that I send out, the Confidence Catalyst.
I love it. And you all are going to be wanting to get that. So thank you so much, Becky. It has been a joy and a delight to have you here. We could go on and solve all the world's problems, but
thank you so much for having me, Leslie. It was so great to get to connect with you and bring power to your community on purpose. I just love it so much. Thank you.
Right. And we're going to drop the link in for Becky's show as well, because this is a powerful combination. You're going to get lots of purpose and power, and women telling their stories, sharing their experiences. So be sure and subscribe, because you don't want to miss any more powerful conversations like we just had today with Becky.